Time.
7 seconds. My Wi-Fi on.
What?
7 seconds.
Ready, Mr. Mayor.
All right, the appointed hours arrived, 5:30. I'll call the meeting to order. Clerk Dickinson, can we have a roll call, please?
Yes.
You remember us, don't you?
I do. Sorry, I didn't know the right page here. Warshak.
Here.
Jobs. Here. Ankala. Here. Cody.
Yep.
Gregor.
Here. All right, we have a full rostrum. If we could stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Next item on the agenda is the consent agenda. The items for those in the audience that are marked with asterisks are the items that we normally would approve in block. And do any councilors have any items under those consent agenda categories that they'd like to have separately discussed? All right, seeing none, is there a motion to approve the consent agenda?
So moved.
Moved, support?
Support.
Moved and supported. Any further discussion? If not, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right, the consent agenda is adopted. And move to the public appearances and public forum portion of the meeting. We've had a request from Renee and Chris Schuck, and I realized the nature of this, whoops, hope it wasn't anything we did there. The nature of this issue is one that deserves exploration, and I think you've made a presentation already in front of the Planning Commission, and I've talked with the city clerk. I think these are probably common or issues that are confronting cities all over as the numbers of camper trailers increase and housing becomes less available. So with those sort of things, we usually ask addressing the council if you could confine it to like 3 to 5 minutes, and I'd invite Chris, do you want to address the council?
Yes, I do. Mayor, council, and guests, good evening, and thank you for allowing me to represent many City of Aurora residents on our concerns in our beautiful city. There are numerous lots for sale in Aurora, and land has been selling very well in the last few years. Our concern is that if the City of Aurora allows people to park camper trailers on lots within the city, people will be buying these lots for that purpose. It will take away the building of homes, thus affect our tax base as well. We are concerned about gray water and sewage of these campers' trailers. Where will the discharge end up? We have numerous campgrounds in our area where these campers need to be parked. These campgrounds are equipped with these services for safe disposal of these concerns. In the past few years, we have had numerous people moving campers in and residing in people's lots. A few years ago, in June 2018, Jeff Rabb was denied by the City of Aurora to park a camper on his lot located northeast of the Catholic Church, overlooking the St. James Pit. Due to a city ordinance, he was denied, and the city did not want to set a precedent. The city needs to be fair and consistent with these decisions. We understand that the City of Aurora has been buying lots in our trailer park located by the cemetery, so trailers cannot be moved back in. This is a very good idea. Why then are we allowing camper trailers to be parked in city lots and allowing people to live there on a seasonal basis? Tonight we ask the City of Aurora to adopt an ordinance for the City of Aurora to regulate our concerns in our community. Thank you for your time.
Well, thank you for bringing those concerns to the council. Again, I think those of us that have driven around are seeing evidence of more and more campers in town. And that seems to be confirmed both statewide and nationally. And if normally we won't engage and take any action in response, but your comments are welcome and duly noted for the record. Thank you. If there are no other appearances, is that correct? Noted? Okay. Move on then to, I'm sorry, Renee, you were gone. Did you want to separately address us?
No, but I don't know what the protocol is now. Do you talk about it later, or do you talk about it now, or?
Basically, what we try to do is take citizen comments to alert us to issues that then we should discuss first at staff level and then hopefully come back to the council if action's appropriate. So I'm sure, given the close community involvement you folks have, we'll be in touch to try to sort out some potential actions.
Do you happen to know what a timetable is? Because I have one concern that she is in the process of doing it right now.
I personally think, we have an ordinance right now that will not allow campers being set up, and
Well, she thinks it's allowed, and she went ahead and started, she went.
I think she put in a 220.
220 outlet outside, and, I mean, she's getting ready to put campers out there.
Councilor Joss?
Can I say something? First of all, thank you for bringing this concern. I do have letters that were brought to Planning and Zoning Committee, all the neighbors against this. But we do not have an ordinance as far as campers. We have an ordinance for mobile homes. And I personally feel that we need to put a camper ordinance in place because, again, in June of 2018, it was denied by the city council for Jeff Rabb, it was. And they'd said at that time, no, but there was no ordinance written. And I do have the ordinance for the mobile home stuff, but
I'm
there's nothing
suspecting
camper.
that through the League of Minnesota Cities, there are probably quite a few good examples we can get a hold of.
Absolutely.
And I would think that we could just ask the city clerk.
yeah, no,
We have to-
and
If we fill up the lots, the empty lots with campers, we won't have a spot for homes.
I had a person, my back behind me in my alley had set up a camper and had people living there. It was kind of off and on, but more on than off, and finally I complained, and our police went and basically told me we couldn't do that. So I don't know what they used as a, but
There must be something in place.
there.
Can we put this on the next, city council meeting?
Right.
So that way it's openly discussed in the next city council
Yeah, I
meeting?
think that'll give the city clerk some time to research the issue further, talk with the police chief,
Have in place.
and maybe we can each try to talk with her too about our own impressions.
There's a big difference between having company come stay in a
Exactly.
camper
Yep.
or renting it out.
Yep.
That's a business if you're renting it out, which should follow under different rules.
Well,
Even if
and
it's not rented?
even zoning, if it's zoned residential, I can't believe we don't have something already that covers that.
Well, we'll find out.
I don't think it should be allowed, but,
If it's
you
on
know,
R1, you have an ordinance that covers it.
That's what I thought, Richard. Yeah.
there's
So,
a lot of...
So I think if Steph could research and come back with that, or Mike or whoever. Yeah.
so time frame, next city council meeting, 2 weeks.
Does that work for you,
Does that-
Councilor Godey?
Yeah.
All right, everyone else? All right, so let's move on then to our, pardon?
Well, 2 weeks, it's the third.
We meet 2 weeks from now,
Third
yeah.
Tuesday where we actually take action. Stuff will
Well, Steph, you can follow up with the East Range Police Department
It's
to
the
see
first Tuesday and the
what has
third
been done in the
Tuesday.
past.
Oh, today's the
Possibly they
first.
can correct
Yeah,
it
you're
before
right.
they get too comfortable in that lot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, moving on to the agenda, we have reports from staff members, and ask our Public Works Director, Wayne Thuringer, to give a report, although I should be going to probably Steph first. All right, so I don't want to steal your thunder. City Clerk?
So most recently, I'm gonna probably take one of Dave's, but we spent a lot of time in the park yesterday planting flowers and through out town, and that was a lot of fun, minus the mosquitoes.
Yeah.
We had an update from the auditor as well that they're nearing completion of getting everything ready to meet with council again like they did last year and go over the audit. I think that we all discussed after last year's meeting with them that a working session going through the data was pretty helpful. So I think that's the plan moving forward, is that once they're done with all the stuff that they do, if anybody has any specific questions or anything at that working session, we can always forward it to them as well, so they're prepared to have that ready for.
Should we brace ourselves for some real criticisms, or does it look pretty good?
No, I thought the results were good.
All right, good. All right.
So, and then just a reminder that tomorrow we have our annual safety training as well, so we'll be closing the office. And then other than that, just mostly business as usual.
Very good. Thanks. Now, Public Works Director Thuringer. First of all, it's good to see all the crews out there. I think you're up to full complement on your summer workers, and I've seen the street sweeper out, and you're in the midst of the large trash removal. So, certainly thanks to you and your crew. Yeah. So.
You just gave my report.
Oh, I'm sure there's a lot more going on.
Wait, I don't know if I want to say that.
Well, tentative.
Yeah, we're in the middle of spring cleanup. It's going well. It's seen a lot of trees cut down and a lot of mature trees coming down this year. So the largest part seems to be branches, but I want people to just keep note that you have to follow the rules. It was very clearly stated in the shopper ads, of what will and will not be picked up. We have left some items behind that were clearly pointed out in the ad that they would not be picked up. And also that you need to have it out there at 7 a.m. of the day of your scheduled pickup. So we've seen some things come creeping out to the curb after we've already passed through. So I think this year we will make a second round and make sure everything gets picked up. But the items that are specifically noted, we will not pick up, because then the cost for us to pay to get rid of them is prohibitive. Warmer weather, so I think makes Alicia happy. I do believe, tentatively, unless something goes severely wrong, we should activate the splash pad for Monday, and then there should be
What day?
Monday.
This Monday.
This coming Monday. And that will be active through the summer, and the hours are 11 a.m. to 8 p.m. It is not monitored, so for the general public, all you have to do is walk up and touch the pad and it will activate, and you can run around in the sprinkler heads and whatever. Other than that, I don't really have anything else. That's not on the agenda already.
All right, thanks very much. Chief Librarian, Paula Chapman, do you have a report and some things to show and tell, huh?
I certainly do. Thank you, Mayor. Well, it's summer, and the summer reading programs for children and teens began yesterday, and they will continue through the end of July. So children and teens can sign up anytime during that period to earn incentives for reading. And additionally, we will have weekly take and make projects or take and do projects for children. We'll have a weekly show me activity where we will show them something and then they can try it out. And we will also have a different play and learn at the library kit that we're borrowing from Arrowhead Library System each week, as well as some kind of weekly program or activity for children either at the library or somewhere around town. We'll also have a weekly craft activity or event for teens as well. And children and teens do not need to sign up for the reading program to enjoy all of the additional activities. It's just for earning reading incentives. We are partnering with our local elementary summer school classes, so they will be making weekly visits to the library, and will also enjoy some of the extra programs. And we're partnering with Rasmussen's Romper Room Daycare. And because of those partnerships, in 2 days we have had 64 children and 16 sign up for the reading programs already. This month, we are offering 3 special programs or activities in partnership with Arrowhead Library System and funded with money from Minnesota's Arts and Cultural Heritage Fund. And this week, on Thursday, June 9th, we'll have a program for the young and young at heart at the Aurora Community Senior Center at 10:30 a.m. And it is Taiko Arts Japanese Drumming. And audience members will learn the history and cultural context of taiko drumming in Japan and the United States, and will enjoy a lively program with lots of interactive elements. Starting June 13th, we'll be offering Be a Storyteller Take and Do Kits, developed by Compass teaching artist Beverly Cotton. And the kit contains tools to learn an old story, put your own creative spin on it, and then retell it to your family, your friends, your pets, whoever. And there will be an accompanying online video with Beverly that new storytellers who want to watch and learn more can take part in. Then, next week, on Thursday, June 14th at 10 a.m., we will have another program at the Community Center, a Haitian dance program. And this hour-long performance will be a vibrant educational tool filled with dance, music, drumming, storytelling, history, and presents Haitian cultural heritage with songs in Creole and French languages with live drumming and even some audience participation. And finally, the Aurora Public Library's newest collection, the Library of Things, has grown significantly in the past couple of weeks. We've added a couple of new simple musical instruments, most of which are checked out right now, but the one that's here is a children's percussion musical instruments. We've also added a steel tongue drum. We've added several new outdoor games, including bocce balls and a t-ball stand, bat, and balls. We've added several children's educational games, including phonics flip books, currently checked out, and geography bingo. And a couple of new tools, including a stud finder and a level. So come check them out. And that Library of Things is made available primarily through the Library Services and Technology Act American Rescue Plan, administered by MDE State Library Services. And the educational games were purchased with a generous donation from United Way. And with that same donation, we have also significantly expanded our collection of graphic novels. So lots going on at the library right now. Thank you.
Sounds like a real hub of activity, and it's great to see the kids between the splash pad and the library options and so many things. Hopefully we're addressing the interests and needs of the youth in the community. So thanks for the report. City Attorney?
Just what's on the agenda, Mayor.
Thank you. I think we've gone through all the staff. Okay. So with that, the councilor reports, starting with our newest member, Councilor Godey.
The part I wanted to talk about today was the Local Board of Appeals and Equalization. We had a couple meetings, May 5th and May 25th, and there was quite a response between people appearing and sending in letters, and I thought the assessor did a wonderful job explaining how it worked, because I had never gone to one. And well, if you're going to be considered for getting your taxes lowered on your home, you have to let them in your house. And that, with that said, about half the people that wrote in or appeared had decided not to have that happen. And he also explained that it can go either direction and I think it was a pretty even split between people who got their taxes lowered and raised. You know, I could see the concern. Everyone's concerned with groceries, heating, gas prices. It affects all of us. And it also affects us running the city. And I don't think anyone should be surprised that down the road we're going to have to pass on our increased costs to the public. It's just the way it is. You know, that's really about all I have for today.
Appreciate that, and just to kind of echo, I thought it was a good credit to the city, to the assessor's office, and counselors that were doing it. It was a nice civil proceeding. People learned a lot, had genuine motivations for coming. I think in many cases pursued their appeals with the assessor, and in some cases had decreases, in some cases. But yeah, to me, what was for citizens that might be listening in, those that did appeal, if their property valuation increased, that increase was not going to be applicable until the next year. So the assessor's office is sensitive to not trying to provide a disincentive to appealing, but ultimately having to have the market values reflect what the actual condition and the properties are in the market. So yeah, I thought it was very educational. All right. Thank you for your report. Councilor Joffs?
So planning and zoning, we've been seeing lots of improvements coming through town, which is really exciting. I know that a lot of people are trying to get the HRA grant, so I've had lots of people come and talk to me about that. Actually, I've sent a few of them into the HRA for people that don't have scanners and stuff like that. So that's kind of exciting to see that people are improving on their property. The one thing that we did talk about planning and zoning, obviously, we've already had guests here tonight. We talked about camper ordinances and discussing with the council camper ordinances and possible rental ordinance. I know that we've been talking about that for quite some time. I think that it's important that if we do the camper ordinances, we need to talk about the rental ordinances as well. So it might be a great thing to put together when we do discuss it.
We had a draft of that.
We do. Actually, we do have a draft.
About, what, a year and a half ago,
Yep,
somehow just stopped the process. Yeah.
When our last city administrator was here. So youth activity coordinator, we're going to be doing some discussing about that tonight as well. That's on the agenda. But the beaches are open next week, so it's kind of exciting. Finally, summer has come. So, and summer sports are on their way to beginning. I know I gave the numbers the last council meeting, so I don't have them this time, but everything's on its way. City cleanup, I noticed that the guys are out working hard, picking up lots and lots of stuff. So thank you to Wayne and his crew. Paula, I'm super excited about all the stuff that you have for these kids to check out, the instruments, super excited about the tools. That's great. I mean, more kids, that's awesome. So great ideas out there. And that's pretty much it for me. Thank you.
Thank you for your report. Councilor Honkla?
I just want to echo what Councilor Droff said about the library and all the great things. They have a huge thing of library of things, including hotspots that they rent out, which is kind of nice for families that go in locations that don't have Wi-Fi for students to still work and get stuff done, like driver's training we use it for, and just entertainment purposes when kids are out camping. So I think that's great. She does a great job. I just wanted to expand on the library is currently is holding a survey as part of their strategic plan. And so we're really trying to gather a lot of input from our community. And it isn't just kids that we want input from. We want the entire range of people that would or could or would want to use our library. So I'd like to see all the council at least give their input back to the library and what they would like to see in the library, what's doing well, what can be changed. So keep that in mind, that survey. Cemetery, the parks. Cemetery has a lot of things going on. They did a great job cleaning up, prepping for Memorial Day. So great job for the Public Works for doing that, as well as the cleanup around town. I just want to remind the public to clean up after their dogs or animals. I do a bit of walking various roads, volunteering in different areas, and it's pretty consistently not picked up after. And if you're in a public area, you shouldn't have to worry about feces. So I like to see that the community clean up a little bit better. Just to echo what Councilor Dan said about the assessors, I don't know if we all read it, but the assessors will be in Aurora and our surrounding areas. They'll be door knocking and asking for entry into the homes. This has not been put forth by the city of Aurora. This is through St. Louis County. But just so the public is aware that they will walk up to your home, they'll knock, they'll ask to see the inside of your house, and the public has a right to deny access or allow them if they choose to. either way. Yes, Wayne said the splash pad will open on Monday. This is the first I hear about it, so this is super exciting. Some of the rule signs haven't been put out yet, but please don't climb on the splash pad equipment. It's a concrete pad. If you fall from it, it won't be pleasant, I'm sure. And some of the other signs that Wayne is putting out is no ATVs or motorized vehicles in our parks. And in our cemetery, I see there's still a problem. I just received an email about vehicles driving through the cemetery to get from one place to another versus actually using the roads to go and service their graves or visit their loved ones. So this is not a roadway. It shouldn't be used as a roadway. I know the cemetery is talking about possibly putting up a gate just to keep the traffic from going through that area. Parks. So the parks are open, you know, the playgrounds are used, the trash cans are out, everything looks great, so thanks for Public Works for that. And, just to echo about the campers in the yards, I know that there was some concern about overnight campers in public parking lots. So that's something else that we need to look at for that ordinance. You know, if they're coming through town and they have one more night before they can get in Fisherman's Point, is it okay for them to park in the community center? If it is, okay, but if it isn't, we should have something in that ordinance. And then I noticed a lot of the garbage put out. Really thankful for that person that donated that pretty large sum of money to help with offset the cost of the cleanup. But the tree size, I've noticed there's lots of branches out there. And in the East Range Shopper, it read, face the branches in a similar direction, no longer than 6 feet, I believe it read. There's branches out there that are 12 to 15 feet in length. And there's logs the size of 3 times of me. So what is branch? I mean, should we explore that for next year? So there are some substantial logs out there. I don't know how you'll move them unless you have equipment. To actually
We plan on using equipment, but not necessarily picking them up.
Well, okay then, just so the public is aware that it did state in the Eastern Shopper, branches versus logs, and that they should be within certain size limitations. Because I was concerned when looking at all of that. And that's what I have, Mayor. Thank you.
Thanks very much. Councilor Warshak?
HRA met yesterday, and we did give out 10 $500 grants, so that's good. Various folks doing upkeep on their homes, which is really great. So we talked a little bit about the market, and I believe Chair Malaria was going to try and get a hold of Mr. Danucci and find out what's going on there. There's a lot of people are starting to get pretty pessimistic about it, and I'm sorry to say, including me. You know, so I'm hoping it's still a go, but really got to wonder what's going on. Yeah, spruce up. Yep, plant. You see various folks out planting, and we did the park last night. I hope Steph checked what I did, because I think I put some of mine in maybe a little crooked, but then I saw Kimberly and Lindsay out planting out front this evening or late afternoon, and I saw Dan Rasmussen out watering, and so the planting's going on, and yeah, things are looking good. And I talked to Jan Moore in church on Sunday, and I know she's really happy with what's going on. So yeah. And the other thing, I think kind of got talked a little bit, but I really have some concerns about budgets, because I'm assuming we did not budget for gas even at what it is now, and I think it's going to keep going up, and just costs of everything going up, you know. So I don't know. I wouldn't mind seeing a update on maybe sometime on where we think we might be, you know.
It's on to you.
Yeah.
This morning he suggested after our required safety trainings that just staff has a whole look at where we're at budget-wise.
Yeah.
And kind of give an update for mid-year once we get those mid-year
Yeah,
financials and potentially shift in some areas as needed.
Thank you.
Yes, definitely. We'll follow up.
And then the only other thing I got, and I think everybody in here knows this, that I will be moving. So I haven't set a date yet, but I think probably July will be my last month. So I haven't put in an official resignation yet, but I will be putting one in fairly soon, you know, as soon as I really, you know, get some more dates. I haven't confirmed, I think I have an apartment, but I haven't heard anything lately, so, you know, yeah, so.
Well, we'll do
July-
whatever we can to discourage it.
July, right now I'm thinking July will be my last month, though, so.
All right.
Yeah. And that's all I have here.
Thank you, Councilor. Just a word on the Memorial Day that I think was mentioned. There was a nice turnout again. It's always a credit to the community. I think that we pay suitable tribute to the veterans, many of them, as the names are read off. You realize the impacts on families and the community from each of those conflicts. Let's see, our council packet contains, and I think we ought to kind of celebrate that our blight officers actually in action now, sending out quite a few notices to people, and we're proceeding along a way of blight ordinance enforcement, and thanks to all those that put their efforts into getting care of that. The Board of Appeals, just a little sidelight to Councilor Godey's, there were 25 people, if I counted correctly, that appealed. 9 of them had decreases or granted through the extra efforts of the assessor's office, and a total of about $40,000 of market value was reduced as a result of the citizens coming forward on that. On the water project, just kind of an update. The IRRB is now addressing a water contingency plan, which the city of Biwabik has already addressed as to how the communities or the various affected parties will deal with changes in the water level in the Barris Pit as projects proceed. They're also working on a project labor agreement in anticipation of going out for bids. There's a public information campaign being organized under there. We're going to discuss at the next water board meeting rate increases, which we've touched upon a little bit in some of our agenda setting meetings and otherwise. And we'll have sort of lease statuses on the intake site, and that project is moving forward, albeit much slower because of the inaction of the legislature on some of the key funding issues. So hopefully, I talked to the city clerk, maybe we can have our lobbyist give us a report on the forecast and maybe also the fundraiser for the water project. So, but that'll come at a later meeting. East Range Joint Powers Board, just people will start noticing there's an aggressive sort of trail signage project, placement of those things in association with some new recreational trail maps that are available at the different businesses around town and probably at the library also. So those that are trying to get out on the trails will have some new aids there. Let's see. The loans that have been outstanding are beginning to be repaid on that. Switching to the Community Action Partners meeting, had a really fascinating tour of the Stearns manufacturing facility that's in Alaskan Park. A very vibrant and much larger operation certainly than I envisioned. So if you ever get the chance to see either their product array or get a tour through the facility, certainly recommend it. It's if they had more workers, they'd be expanding. So that's a nice another indication of the status of the economy. The Polymet update, despite what we hear in the news, was relatively upbeat. They really feel they can handle litigation, but they're anxious about what actions will be taken on the public hearing process that just ended relating to potential groundwater contamination that was an issue raised, I think, by one of the tribes. So that's very significant, but again, the staff at Polymet feels confident. And the last item I'd like to address, kind of a sad one, is that I think most of us know that the shopper is ceasing operations at its current location at the end of the month. The last publication will be on the weekend before July 1st right now from that facility. So we have a group, a small core group, that's trying to work on some rejuvenations or relocation projects. The person that we had identified as probably most likely publisher or manager of that unfortunately withdrew last Thursday, but there's a meeting the community is invited to at the Shopper this Thursday at 5:00 p.m. And there was a phone number put into the ad that went into the Shopper, and I know we've gotten in our task force group about 2 or 3 calls from seemingly very interested and very qualified people who could come on board to take over for Roger Johnston, who's going to be retiring. But all this is kind of in flux, and any energies, ideas, or resources that anybody has, or family members otherwise, I think we want to do what we can to preserve that valuable media resource in our community. And I don't want it to be another situation like when we lost the drugstore and lost the grocery store. I think we all said, oh, that's too bad. Well, we need to fight to keep this alive. So those are the comments I had, and I think we can proceed back to the agenda. Under old business, 16.1, we have the cell tower land purchase documentation finally prepared. Would it be all right to turn to the city attorney, city clerk? All right, City Attorney Carney.
We've been working on this with the mayor and staff and Tillman, and finally got the option to purchase, I think, in a form that asked the council to approve tonight. Get that moving forward. I don't know if you had a chance to look at it. Basically, the option, they're going to pay $2,000. It sounds like they've already done the planning and zoning, so they're maybe moving quicker like this summer. And then the purchase price would be $55,000. So to get it done this year, that was unscheduled revenue, I believe, Steph said, and might help offset the gas bill that being incurred by the public works. So. But I think it's ready to go, and I spoke with Steph today that the Tillman representative, they looked at it, they didn't really see any issues with it, so your approval tonight is obviously subject to Tillman approving it, but I believe that, what I've heard, that they would sign off on it and then, you know, move towards hopefully the purchase of that to get the cell tower going.
So legally and substantively, it's in line with what we've intended in our previous council actions, right?
Correct.
Right. Is there a motion to approve the proposed purchase agreement?
Make a motion.
Moved. Support.
Support.
Moved and supported. Further discussion? If not, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right. We finally have our cell tower purchase agreement. Hopefully, it's still got to be executed, right? But we'll hope for that to go smoothly. Thanks for all the work on that. Both Steph and city attorney put in a lot of work into it.
And the mayor.
Well, so, moving to new business, we have proposed resolution 2022-19. And City Clerk, do you want to give us some background on this?
Yeah, the Planning and Zoning Commission has been holding public hearings, and the individuals that worked together on that had done cost analysis of all the permit fees and application fees that go along with any of those tasks, and they're taking a little bit of a loss on the variances on a regular basis. So the recommendation would be to increase that to $150 per member.
All right. Well, another area of increasing costs. It's probably, at least in my experience, the first time we've done actual cost accounting, though, how much it really costs to process the variances and to try to bring this fees into alignment, right?
Yeah. Yep, there's a lot of work that goes into the public hearings for them. So.
Right. Is there a motion to approve the proposed resolution?
So
Moved. Support?
Support.
Support. Further discussion? If not, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The resolution's adopted. Moving to agenda item 17.2, resolution 2022-18, lawful gambling premises permit. This is to kind of tidy up some previous consideration.
Council had previously approved, but I didn't accompany a resolution with it, so this would be just adopting the resolution to approve for that.
Which would kind of mirror our previous motion actions, right? Is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
All right, support? Moved and supported. Further discussion on the matter? If not, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Abstain.
Whoops. The record will note that Councilor Honko abstained, but the rest of the votes, did I ask any opposed? No. All right, so the resolution's adopted. Moving next to 17.3, the Aurora Volunteer Fire Department resignation. Always sad to see that happen, but we usually find people that are willing to come step forward to serve. So, City Clerk, what actions do we need on that?
On this one, we would just accept Joe Free's resignation from the Volunteer Fire Department with regrets.
Yep. Is there a motion to accept that resignation with regrets?
I'll make a motion.
So moved. Support? Support. Moved and supported. Further discussion? All right, if not, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Well, we'll wish the best to Joe Fury. So, 17.4 is the Parks Committee has a resignation also. City Clerk, do you want to just give the background on that?
I don't have much background other than that he submitted his resignation. So Upper Dickinson, we'd accept that resignation as well with regrets.
All right, we can do that by motion, right?
Yes, please.
All right, so is there a motion to approve with regrets Upper Dickinson's resignation?
So moved.
Moved, support?
Support.
Moved and supported. Further discussion? If not, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right, well, Huffer, I talked to him the other night to celebrate Aurora. He's keeping more than busy, so the community's still benefiting from all of his energies and talents.
Will we be looking for another person?
The current
for
chair,
that?
we voted the current chair, which would be Russ for the
Russ,
Public Works
yeah, saw
Department.
that.
Yeah.
But how about, do we need another person
We
to fill
do
in?
need more people to join the
Yeah,
Parks
yeah.
Committee, so I would ask you, Dave, but I know.
We had talked about, there was a handful of resignations obviously on the agenda that we would probably do some advertisement for the vacancies.
Another good reason to keep the shopper alive.
Yes.
Very good.
Absolutely.
All right. 17.5 deals with joint equipment use relating to the sludge truck, right? And we have a lot of materials in our files here, and I've talked with the city clerk, and I think there are probably some questions that readily come to mind to give some more investigation and background on these, but city clerk, do you want to kind of lay the issue out a little bit, and then what information we might be seeking?
Sure, yeah. So myself, Wayne, and Jim had met with City of White Lake staff regarding the joint use equipment agreement, specifically related to the sludge truck. The City of White Lakes had received a new truck, so we are kind of up in the air of how to handle moving forward. Initially, we thought there was a bunch of kind of ideas that were tossed around, but further review with staff and then speaking with City Attorney Carney today, I think that we'd be looking more so for an extended version of the amendment of the agreement. Currently, we forfeit our option to co-own it by April of next year, which, due to the funding implications, might be difficult for the City of Aurora. I think that there are other areas of the agreement as well that we'll probably have to request more detail on as well. When we received the amendment as well, Jim still hasn't had a chance to review. He's been away, our water wastewater supervisor, so I think it would be good actually to include him on the discussions that we've had over the last couple working days anyways. What else? Did you have anything else to add?
Public Works Director, do you have anything to add to her comments?
Well, I think the input I would have would be handled through the discussions. I don't think it'd be proper to talk about it at this time.
right.
Yeah, we just have more to, I think it's at the end of the day or whatever to move forward and make the best recommendation of how the city of Aurora should move forward. We just need to request further detail and we'll do that and hopefully get something back sooner than later.
I'll make a motion to table. Is there a support?
I'll support.
All right, moved and supported. Further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor of the motion to table?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right, the matter's tabled, and we'll anticipate a report back probably at the next meeting, or?
I hope so,
Okay,
yeah.
all right. All right, turning to 17.6 on the agenda, the youth activity agreement. I think we had a, subsequent to the agenda going out, there was another distribution?
I spoke with Councilor Moncloy this morning, and she had requested further detail that myself and Councilor Jobs had received a handful of items at the meetings that we had attended at the school. And then also Superintendent Burgess had sent over some information as well. So if anyone has any specific questions, we can certainly try to help from the meetings that were attended. But ultimately, mostly seemed that the increases would cover some of the wage for the youth activity director and the increased fees for the sports that the school's offering for all the communities and so on and so forth. But yeah, so you can certainly vote on it or discuss or.
Councilor Moncloy?
Do we need a motion to discuss, or can we discuss prior to taking a motion?
I think you should.
Well, let's hear your comments. I know you're in particular in tune with what's going on with the Parks and Rec.
Well, just some things that have been brought to my attention by area families, school district families, is that the coordinator is not only setting up the sports, but it also, the coordinator also rents out the sports complex for a fee to other areas and other sports teams outside of our school district. So concern is our students and the families that paid into that complex are now shuffled over to Berdice, which Berdice is a good field, but it's been a real wet spring. So a majority of their games were canceled this spring because of the weather. And yet the families would then drive by the complex and see this out of area team playing on the nice complex we just put into.
So you're thinking some policy, maybe a priority to community?
I don't know how we could do that because it's the school district puts an equal portion forward as well as the benefits, correct?
Right.
That's what I got from the documents that Steph put forward today. But it's just, so families are pretty upset because, we levied for that, and a lot of families happily did it, knowing that we're going to get this very nice complex in our area. And for our teams that Wasabi used to utilize, and yet we're watching it getting rented out to other places, and our games are getting canceled. So it's a tough gig for the people that get their tax payment and they see that they're paying for that levy, and yet they know their kids are not playing on that field.
It sounds like it'd be appropriate to find some avenue to get this to the school board.
Right,
And,
right. And families have complained to the school board, not the school board, but the superintendent. But I just wanted to just state that because I feel like I want to be the voice for the concerns in our community, and that is a pretty big concern right now.
Yeah.
And so if that's the case, they're getting a rental fee for those things. Then that goes into what? Shouldn't that also go in to offset the cost of the youth activity? If they're getting money generated for renting it out?
And does any of it, do we know, or?
I have no idea.
Yeah.
That part I'm not sure.
Okay.
No, that part I'm not sure. All I know is, and what I've been told is that when the Mesabi East students they have first priority over the fields for like big sporting events. So anything with Mesabi East, they have priority and then they rent out from there. Am I
What's
correct?
considered a big sporting event?
So it's the
See what I'm going for?
That part I'm not-
Yes.
the non-school community teams that are being displaced.
I wondered if there was, because I had heard the same thing, just word of mouth, was that if the field's being rented out and say the high school team needs to, or has a game schedule, that they do take priority. So I'm wondering if, and I can follow up with the superintendent, is if the youth sports obviously are a separate thing than the sports that the school is
The athletic
coordinating
department.
and organizing, but I can always ask for information on that too.
I'd like to see some, that way I can share it.
I can remember that discussion even when, before the complex was built, you know, people had concerns, and the superintendent at the time did state that they were gonna be renting it out, you know what I mean? So it's not a real surprise, you know, I don't like it, but it's not a real surprise, you know?
It's just discouraging for families.
Yes, yeah.
There's a lot of revenue passing hands too, right? Of
Yeah.
making those fields available, and
Do you
But-
remember what we paid for the individual that would oversee all these activities in our area prior to making this agreement with the school in the area, the other area communities? Right, it was a cost savings, I think, but I wasn't part of the council when this was.
Like what we paid our
Right.
Yeah, so like
Rec
what
director?
Ed, yeah, like what Ed got paid, what
Oh,
Chris got paid.
I don't,
yeah.
I think overall this was a savings, but I don't
Yes.
think we paid the rec director, you know, this amount, you know what I mean? Yeah, I think overall it came out as a savings, I don't remember, but I don't.
Yeah, it did.
because we essentially brought together
Yes,
a
yeah.
number
Yeah.
of entities collectively
Yep.
sponsored the position. Yeah.
But this does seem like quite a jump to me, you know what I mean? That's like a 30% jump, you know? Even though I think it's a great position and a needed position, but,
So,
and
Council,
that leads back to my budget questions, you know, I mean, where are we gonna be at with budgets, you know? But
well, we have before us a proposed compensation adjustment plan, is that correct? And I think Councilor Warshak's correct. My math said that going to 13,005 annually would be an increase of 35% over what we have been paying.
yeah.
But isn't that what everything has raised? I mean,
Well,
I mean,
we've actually,
everything's gone up.
yeah, but we've actually not, yeah, but not that big a percent, you know, I mean, and I believe we even balked a little bit at East Range PD when we were looking at budgets, you know, so it wasn't near that much. It wasn't near that much of a jump, you know.
The second year, it hardly goes up.
And then, and then the next year,
Second
but
year's
yeah, you know.
3% or something. City Clerk, do we know whether the other parties to the agreement have already approved it?
They've all approved it.
They've all approved it. Okay. Well, is there a motion to approve the proposed agreement, subject to the fact we're going to have to learn some more about the transfer of revenue? By hopefully the city clerk will check in a little bit on that and give us a report back.
I will make the motion that we approve this.
Support.
I'll support.
Moved and supported. Further discussion? If not, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Moving on to 17.7, the Aurora Public Library resignations. Their city clerk or librarian, who wants to?
Do you want to give the update, Paul?
I can do that. It has been my privilege to serve as librarian for the Aurora Public Library. Between part-time and full-time, I've been here very close to 21 years, but I feel that the time has come to pass on the torch. So I am offering my resignation. I would like to see a smooth transition process and would like to do anything I can to aid that. And so I am giving a final day of work as Tuesday, November 22nd. And then secondly, one of our library board members has also tendered her resignation, and that was effective May 20th, and that's Joy Letton.
Well, I'm confident I speak for the council in saying we really regret you moving on, but certainly appreciate the courtesy of such an advance notice of this to allow for a smooth and effective transition. So Is there a motion to accept the resignation from our
I would
East Librarian?
I would just do them separate. If that's
Oh,
what you're-
yeah, I thought I'd just entertain the one first of all on Paula's position.
I'll make it.
It's been moved. Is there support?
I will sadly support it.
All right. Well, we'll duly note, I'm sure, the resignation as the time approaches there, but is there further discussion on the motion?
Just gonna be hard to believe not to see Paula sitting down there, you know, yeah. Paula's been a great person for that library, so, yeah.
All right, further discussion. If not, all those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right, with regrets, we're accepting the resignation. And then going on to Thea Rebel, her resignation is... Oh, I'm sorry, what? Joy Lettman. Yes, we don't want to get rid of Thea yes, either. Joy Lettman has tendered her resignation, and is there a motion to accept that?
Make that motion.
So moved.
Support.
Supported. All right, further discussion. If not, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right. So you get an old mayor that gets too far into the meeting there and you get disoriented on those things. So, but we'll try. Plenty of people to keep us on track. So, 17.8, the library job description. City clerk, are there major revisions that we'd be looking at, or?
No, and Paula, do you want to summarize or do you want me to? You're here, so if you yeah, you go ahead.
No, there were no major revisions. The main thing we did was, rather than stating a specific wage and benefits in the job descriptions, we are stating that they'll be in accordance with the current employment agreement. And then the librarian's job description had some potentially contradictory wording, so it was changed to prefers rather than requires.
Good. So, do we need to take action to approve the revised job description then? Is that in order? City attorneys?
Yeah, if you're gonna go out seeking a new librarian, you want the job description that's been approved by the council.
All right, I noticed we have other job descriptions. Are those in order for action also? Any revisions on those, or should we just confine it to the librarian position?
The revisions on the other two descriptions were again just cleaning up the wage and benefits to not be specific, but on those two as well to state that they're in accordance with the current employment agreement.
Would it be in order to approve in one motion all three description changes?
I prefer them individually myself.
All right, well, that's why we have you here. Yes. First of all, I'd entertain a motion then for the revised librarian description to approve that. Is there
I'll make a motion.
Moved, support? Support. Moved and supported. Further discussion on that? If not, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right. And then in terms of the next job description,
The
which,
assistant librarian.
an assistant?
Yep, the assistant librarian.
Yeah, all right. Yeah, we had two of the librarian, I guess. Or at least I did, yeah. All right, the next position description was that of the assistant librarian, and taking the heart comments from the librarian, is there a motion to approve this revised description?
I'll make that motion.
So moved, is there support?
Or
Further discussion? If not, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right, we have those descriptions. I believe that concludes
one more.
Circulation.
Circulation.
Circulation?
Circulation.
That may be why I was thinking I was seeing three of these, but not sure. Well, I'll take everyone's word for it that the third one then is the circulation clerk's job description. Is there a motion to approve?
I'll make that motion.
So moved. Is there support?
Support.
Moved and supported. Further discussion? If not, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Does that conclude finally our list of descriptions change? All right, so we have Agenda item 17.9, to invite other matters. Any other matters, city clerk or otherwise, to bring to the attention, councilors? All right.
Can I just bring up something quick? In your towards the end of the meeting, one of your past mayors and former city councilor passed away last night, Vince Racer.
Oh, really?
The wake will be on Sunday, funeral will be on Monday.
Okay, when is it again, Richard? The week is when?
Sunday night.
Sorry to
Is that
hear
a
that.
reminder too if everybody wants?
I don't think I had heard that.
And funeral, you say, is Monday? Okay. Thank you for bringing that to our attention.
I remember Mayor Lacer saying was out the gate in 98.
Well, I didn't know him well, but I had a few good meetings with him, and he seems quite a character, yeah. So it's a real tribute to the community. So, if there are no other matters, is there a motion to adjourn?
Make that motion.
So moved. Is there support?
Support.
All for it? Lots of support. All right, any further discussion? If not, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. We stand adjourned, and our next scheduled meeting is June 21st at 5:30 p.m.
Policy is there. Sad to see you go.